The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Thank you and welcome to the Cose Web Ed webinar. Today's topic is maximize your marketing spend, spreading your brand without spreading your budget, and will be presented by Jeffrey M. Statz. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to go over a few housekeeping items. My name is Marissa and I will be the webinar organizer for today. We want to make sure today's presentation is extremely valuable for you, so we ask you to submit all questions by clicking on the question button in the control panel and typing your question. Your questions are only visible to me. I will collect all submitted questions and will do the Q&A with Jeffrey at the end of his presentation. Now for the main event, I would like to introduce Jeffrey M. Statz. Jeffrey is a marketing expert dedicated to helping companies in highly competitive industries grow their business by effectively using marketing to their advantage. He is currently head of marketing for EmployeeStream, a SaaS platform designed to transform the hiring and onboarding process for staffing firms. Jeff has had the pleasure of building and leading marketing departments with great brands in highly competitive industries like telecom, banking, SaaS, and insurance for over 17 years. Jeff earned his MBA in marketing strategy from John Carroll University and holds an undergraduate degree in marketing and economics from Baldwin Wallace University. He is also very active in the Northeast Ohio marketing community through his work in the Northeast Ohio chapter of the American Marketing Association, as well as being an adjunct professor at Kent State University and the University of Akron. Without further ado, I will now hand it over to Jeffrey M. Statz.
Thank you, Marissa. I appreciate it. Hey guys, hopefully you can hear me. You can see my screen. Welcome. Thanks for joining me on this typical 4 seasons in one day Cleveland day. So at least it wasn't yesterday when nobody would be on here. So that's good at least. But hopefully you're having a good day, and I appreciate Cose and what you guys do to get people like us out here and starting to talk. So today, we're going to talk about spreading your brand without spreading your budget, or I like to call it, how to be ballin' on a budget. So that's the idea that we want to go after is how do you really, typically budgets are thin. You've got a lot of work to do, whether you're a business owner, marketer, what have you, but how do you really get your brand out there? So, I think we're going to give you some good tips. It's my goal to give you guys some takeaways. I try to set the bar low by just saying, hey, take one takeaway away. And, that way I look good if you at least just take one thing away. So we're going to take you through a whole series. Hopefully you have some good tips and really understand, what we're trying to do in terms of spreading the brand. So just a little bit about me. Actually, that was all done during the intro. But my big thing is, I've been around corporate marketing departments. I've been around building marketing teams, startups, established companies, worked with agencies. I'm real big into mentoring marketers. I feel like marketers don't have a lot of training. They don't, it's tough. You're thrown in here and there's so much technology that's out there right now. So, there's just a lot to do. And as a company owner, as a marketer or salesperson, what have you, there's so many options and you only have a limited budget. So it's all about how do you maximize that and how do you get that return on investment that you need? So I've managed as needed all the way up to multi-million-dollar budgets. It's all grassroots. It's all as needed meaning zero budget. So, I totally understand, where you are and where you could be in the whole scheme of things. So, and then as Marissa said, I'm active in the marketing community, head of marketing for EmployeeStream, local company in Cleveland, SaaS company that focuses on optimizing and automating processes in the staffing space, owner and founder of Spinvista. So I work with companies here and there to really focus on their marketing strategies and are they generating business through that. And then I love 80s music, so you'll have me if you throw in some Toto or some Journey. I'm going to be probably dancing awkwardly about it. Married, father of 3 boys, 9, 7, and 2 that just continue to eat. I can't really stop them. So, that's been an issue that they just keep eating. And then a huge Cleveland fan. So I'm not big on agendas, but I wanted to show this at least. Let's have a roadmap. So before we talk about building your brand or growing your brand or, just spreading that brand message. I want to talk about solidifying your brand. And then we're going to get into ways that we're going to build the brand. We're going to grow it. So there's going to be some ways there that you're going to want to grow it. And then, we'll talk about ways that you can really get some high growth in there. So the idea is that wherever you are in the process, I wanted to be able to kind of cover some things here and there. So at least, again, you may be a startup, you may be an established company, you may be just looking for new ideas. So I wanted to at least have some options for you and some takeaways in each one of these buckets, or each one of these phases where you're at. And then obviously it's all about metrics. So we've got to, at the end of the day, whether you're an owner or whether you're a marketer, again, you're going to need to know, what's actually driving your business and what marketing is there to help you out. So just some fun facts. And this is just I don't know if you've seen these things. I don't know, if you know about them, but video is so hot right now. Let me start on the left. So 64% of consumers say that watching a video on social media influenced them to make a purchase. Video is huge. We're going to talk about it. It's something that if you're not doing it, you should be thinking about, whether it's the cheesy, person on an iPhone walking down the street, or whether it's a thousands of dollars produced video. Do it. People are lazy. They hate reading. It's a great way to get your brand out, bring some personality. 72% of B2B buyers are researching options and narrowing down their choices before even talking to vendors. So that is important too, is if you're in the B2B space, and a lot of Cleveland companies are, people are already doing the research. I mean, it's no secret that they're already figuring out their pain points. They're trying to find a way to solve them. And then they're narrowing down their options right there before they even talk to you or get a demo with you or want to talk to a salesperson. So the idea is that you've got to be where they're at, especially in the B2B space, and make sure that you're very customer centric. 70% are more likely to convert with you when they're sent a retargeting ad after a website visit. So definitely not the creepy, follow-up ads that, the Zappos used to do. But it's really about, if they're on a page that you deem to be real worthy of, wow, this person's, the intent to buy is high, then definitely send them a retargeting ad. Definitely get them back to your site and finish what they've started, whether it's an e-commerce or whether it's just, hey, sign up for a demo or something like that. The idea is that you are creating some strategy around how you're targeting them, and they were there for a purpose. It's just a matter of, bringing them back. So today's goal is really, we're going to talk about ways to build the brand awareness. I mean, that's number one. It's how do you get eyeballs on your brand? How do you get that brand out there? And ultimately, it's all about top of funnel leads. And I'm a big proponent of this phrase that I use all the time, whether I'm teaching or whether I'm talking to, companies, is it's all about sending the right message to the right audience at the right time using the right tactic. Totally, it's nothing, no groundbreaking in terms of what I'm saying here, but that is, it's a key part that you have all these strategies and tactics aligned, and then ultimately it's aligned to your business goals too. That's the way that you build this top of funnel leads, and it's much easier if you're clogging your top of funnel with leads and with new people and new email addresses versus trying to scrape out, somebody in that whole buying process. So what do we mean by top of funnel leads? And this may be not new. For marketers, it's definitely not new, but the marketing funnel is this top to bottom. It takes you from awareness all the way to consideration and purchase. So when we talk about building your brand, is you want to, from a marketing perspective, you want to take these customers down the way, and you want to take them down that funnel and bring them into the top, and then try to weed those out and get those people to purchase as fast as they can. And a marketer's job is to get that sales cycle down as quickly as it can, but you have roadblocks. So when you're thinking about doing marketing, you're thinking about, challenges that you may have in your own business. It's, I think there's 5 things. It's how do you just get top of funnel leads to begin with? So it's attracting traffic and leads. Number 2, it's how do you convert those leads to prospects? So how do you get them from an awareness, oh yeah, I do have a problem, to, well, maybe I should click on this ebook or whatever that is, download. And then there's converting those prospects into qualified prospects. So you may have 100 prospects, but really only 70 are qualified. So how do you weed them out? Is that a sales process thing? Is that a marketing thing? again, it depends on what your sales process is and how you're aligned and your organization is aligned. Converting prospects to customers, so how do you get them to buy? And then ultimately, it's converting those customers to ambassadors. It's finding those fans. And that's the idea, because the cheapest way to market is to get referrals and get people, being your fans and your ambassadors. And that's a great way to start. But it's another challenge is, how do you ask them for those referrals or for those, to be a testimonial for you? So keep that in mind, because we then have the buyer's journey. So again, academic where we're at right now, but there is, the buyer goes on their own journey. So the whole idea is that you have this grid of, we've got our marketing funnel in our company and we've got people through our sales process, but then the buyer's on a journey too. And it's similar, but different. You've got your awareness stage where the buyer realizes they have a problem. There's a consideration where they know there's a solution there, and they got to figure out who has the best solution. And then the decision stage where they choose a solution. So remember, you've got the funnel, you've got the buyer's journey, and the idea is, how do you get that content in the buyer's journey, in the awareness stage, in the consideration, in the decision? What are those pieces of content, and where would a referral fit? Where would a ebook download fit? So that's always been a challenge, is trying to figure out how you put all those together. So before we even, again, get into building your brand, I'm a big proponent of building the foundation. So there's 3 nodes that I would definitely make sure that you guys have in your companies. It's knowing your audience. So who's your A customer? So who is, if they're buying from you, who are your best customers? Who are your low maintenance, high buyers, and what are their traits? So thinking about making sure that, what's similar? Is it geography? Is it demographics? Is it similar pain point? Understanding and knowing that, and then building a persona around that is key. Number 2 is knowing your solution. So there's something out there, it's an action-oriented marketing message. It's really simple. It's your elevator speech, actually. I work with, or I help my target audience solve this problem by our solution, and we do it better because. So it's a real simple way. You fill in the blanks where I sort of put sort of generic words in there, but that's the idea. And you want to have that message everywhere. Who do you help? What pain point do they have? What's their number 1 pain point? What, how do you do it? So what's your solution, and why do you do it better? Number 3 is knowing your fit. So understanding the marketplace, understanding your competitors and where you fit. So from a position standpoint, how are you better? And then honestly, the fit is with your customer as well. So it's, where does your customer live? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they in a particular geography? Writing this down, it's beyond a SWOT analysis or anything like that. It's really, finding out, are they mobile? And I think this, persona fits a lot into this as well. Is when you put that persona together, is, where does your customer live? Are they generational? Are they a mom? Are they, 40 to 55-year-old male? What are their tendencies? Because knowing your fit and knowing how you get that sale is just as important as knowing your audience and your solution. So build that foundation. But remember, a good marketing strategy has to be your starting point. You've got all this foundation building, you've got all this stuff, you know who you are, but then it's really translating that into a marketing strategy, and not just a marketing strategy that lives on its own, but a marketing strategy that's aligned with your business goals. I think that's a key miss at points too, is that we sort of go off on our own with our marketing strategy. We kind of write it out, we got our tactics, they're sweet, everything's awesome, but it doesn't align with your revenue goals, or it doesn't align with your sales comp, or it doesn't align with, really what's going on in the marketplace. So the strategy needs to be that starting point, but then we also make sure that it's part of your business objectives. Cool? Okay. So before we begin some ground rules, I'm going to talk to you about digital marketing. It's going to be the main focus, mostly because it's cheaper. So when budgets are in mind, I want to talk about lower cost ways to get your brand out. I still think traditional tactics have their place: radio, TV, print. Again, it depends on your business. I don't know your business. I think print, to be honest, should have some place in the campaigns. Print's making a comeback. I think whether that print piece is in the sales process to a prospect, or whether it's in a, customer signs up with you and they are, it's an onboarding thing, thanks a lot for being a customer, we appreciate you, welcome to the family type of thing. Print should be in there somewhere. I'm a big proponent of integrated marketing campaigns. But at the end of the day, digital marketing, email, anything like that is going to be cheaper. And again, if you're a small business, that's where you probably want to start. And then I've worked in both B2B and B2C. So I totally understand. I'm going to try to translate some of this to B2B and B2C, and hopefully you see that. If you're a B2C person, I'm not forgetting about you. If you're B2B, you're probably predominantly, the larger type of business in Cleveland, but I want to make sure that I can translate all this to you. So let's roll. Let's build our brand. So the first step here is, if you're in this stage, it's all about building your brand. So some of the takeaways that I would say, or some of the recommendations I would say, is this is the stage where you build your voice. So it's cornering the market as a thought leader. It's what's your positioning statement, and it's content, content, content. It's all about getting yourself out there. If you've got a subject matter expert, maybe that's your business owner, maybe that's, a key number 2 person who's the technical expert. Get that person out there and start writing the content, not from that person's standpoint. It's about the customer and what you can do as a thought leader, what your solutions are and why your solutions are better. Remember, if content, the number one problem with people that are doing businesses that are doing a content strategy is we tend to write about the product and about us. And it's really not about us. It's about the customer. It's about the pain points, about the solution. But you want to get that content out there. The easiest way to get this stuff out is to just hammer content and just get blog posts, get anything that you can out there, because you can really build your brand and corner the market, especially if you have a niche. If you have an opportunity that's not, it's being underserved or not being served, get out there and start putting together case studies, putting together, content pieces, and be fun with it too. It depends on your tone and your voice, but I would definitely be fun with it. Number 2 is leverage fans for testimonials and referrals. I talked about this before. I would definitely do that. Leverage those people that are your customers that want to be your ambassador. Ask them for testimonials. Get referrals. The easiest way that you can get your brand out there is by having fans, pump it up for you. And they're your hype people. So testimonials are great, especially in that decision stage, that bottom of the funnel where somebody's thinking about, do I want to do this? Do I don't? Do I want to go with this company? Do I want to buy this product? If they have people that are, you send them a testimonial or a case study that, has a great quote for you, that could turn them. So I would definitely leverage your fans and do this on a continual basis. You want to be asking, every quarter, every month. It should be part of your whole marketing plan. Number 3 is key messaging needs to be aligned with your website, which needs to be aligned with SEO. SEO is a great thing. I think there's a tool called SEOaudit.com where you can get an SEO audit of your site. You want to make sure that when you're building your brand, that you've got these key messages, these key pain points that you're trying to cover. You've got a great solution for the number 1 pain point. You want to make sure that translates into your website, and then that website translates into the pain points on SEO. What are people searching for? What are they trying to? They've got a pain point. If you've got that keyword built in and your website's the solution, you're great. That's where you can really, it takes a little bit longer from an organic search standpoint, but the idea is that, your website's your online brochure. It's your new print brochure. People are checking you out. So get with that, make sure that your site is really covering those key messages, and however you're going to slice and dice your sitemap and everything else. So that's number 3. Number 4, own one social media channel. A problem with small businesses, you want to be on everything: Snapchat, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. You don't have the money. Own one social media channel and really start testing it. So if your customer's on LinkedIn, own LinkedIn. Get in there, start posting 3-4 times a week. As long as there's value to it, and then get into LinkedIn ads, do some sponsored ads, do some lead forms. Just really try to own that one, because again, it's better to just put your budget efforts, whatever that price point is, put your monthly budget towards one social media channel, then try to spread yourself thin and be all things to all people. And the last thing in terms of building your brand is build your subscriber base and give them options. Now, I would say, again, you're going to try to build your email subscriber base. That's cool. You'll have it everywhere. You'll email them. You'll go on LinkedIn, follow you guys, sign up for your e-newsletter. That's awesome. I'd take it a step further, and I'd give them options, especially in that when they sign up, ask them how often they want to hear from you. So do they want to hear from you weekly? Do they want to hear from you monthly? Do they just never want to hear from you, or they just want to hear from you when you think it's important? Also, ask them what they want to hear about. If you solve 3 pain points, ask them those 3. What type of content would you like to hear? I think that's, again, you're almost segmenting them right as they start. So you're going to see how engaged they are. If they want to hear from you weekly, that's awesome. If they don't, cool. You'll know. I mean, I'm a big believer of an unsubscribe is as important as a subscribe, because you're going to know who wants to hear from you and what do they want to hear about. And then you've got your nurture campaigns right there, or your drip campaigns. You've got things that you can write about, and you've got a built-in base that wants to hear about it. So definitely build your subscriber base. Okay, so let's go to grow your brand. And this is about knowledge transfer. So you've built your brand, you've got a foundation, you built your brand. Let's turn it up a notch and grow the brand. The number one thing that I would say, if you're not doing it, is offer a value-add lead driver. And a lead driver is basically what that is you're getting email addresses. You're saying, I think people are lazy. Again, people don't want to read. They want to know what they can get right away. So that's why value add, quote unquote, is, I would definitely offer something like a checklist or a template, or something that's quick hit that is part of utility. So what can you offer them that is a utility type of thing that, like, oh man, this would be great if I had a checklist to do blah, blah, blah. Like, offer that checklist, and then, gate it so you can get an email address and a name. Why not? Then you're seen as a value add. So think about that. Number 2 is start a consistent webinar series. I'm a huge believer in webinar series. I think they're great. Although I think they got to be consistent. I've seen many webinar series. There's one webinar in January, the next one's in August. And then they find out, well, this is a waste of time and this sucks and I'm not getting any leads. All right. What I would say then is plan it out. Just like a content strategy, this is part of your content strategy. What is your webinar strategy? Get it out there, and don't just talk about how you guys can, your own company can offer some sort of knowledge transfer. Bring in strategic partners, bring in customers, bring in prospects as a panel. Have the content and fill it every month. And I've seen this work. I've seen proposals come out of this. I've seen just more engagement. I think it's huge. It takes a little bit of time, but I think it's really, really, it's powerful because people look for knowledge and they don't want to read. So get them out there. Number 3 is have media on speed dial. So I would definitely, if you're in an association, if you're local here, Cranes Cleveland, Smart Business, Advance Ohio, or Plain Dealer, anything that you do that you think is worthy, whether it's helping, you've hired more people or you rolled out a new product, you're going to do a press release. Awesome, cool. But I would definitely just keep, if your CEO or your owner puts out a great piece and they're writing a blog post, send it to media. Why not? You could pick it up. There's things such as Help a Reporter Out or haro.com. You can always throw that out there. Journalists are looking for things to write about, especially the local feel. Get something out there and just start pumping that out. I usually have a media spreadsheet of all the local media, association media, and then I send out emails every time we have something new that I think is worthy. Send it out to them. Number 4 is leverage co-branding marketing with associations and strategic partners. I think this is a really cool one. Definitely helps, if you've got some dollars and you want to send some marketing and you want to do a marketing campaign, nothing stronger than if you can get the backing of an association, a trade association, an industry association, even a strategic partner that might be an upstream strategic partner that has way more followers or is a bigger company. Do a co-branding marketing campaign with them. It'll cost you a little bit, but again, I would spend less to get on their list and to get to their people versus, trying to do this on my own. And, I've got a limited database. I've got, again, just there's just apathy around what I do. So if you can get a backing of an association that, hey, we support these guys in doing a webinar, or a marketing campaign, I think it's way more powerful and it gives you more credibility. And number 5, guest bloggers for list share. So this is influencer marketing 101. If you've got an influencer that has a great list, an influencer in your industry, an influencer, somebody that's powerful, ask them to write a blog, ask them to, be on a webinar. You'll get your information out to their list. And that's the idea. Now, influencer, it's tough. Sometimes you just got to watch that, make sure that everybody's in it for the right reasons. I wouldn't pay. I know sometimes you have to, and influencers ask for that. I would try to get it as free as possible. And that just becomes, with the relationship. Do you have a good relationship? But that one is one, again, if you're trying to spread your brand. So getting to lists, do some of this cross-pollination of marketing lists is key, I think, to getting that brand out there and getting your name and your position out there as well. Cool. So next is, now we're going into high growth and ways that you can ignite your brand. I have 10 here, and I won't bore you with my monotone voice on all of these, but just touching on some of them. I think surveys, if you're in an industry that, is, almost like an index or a report, put one out there. People love surveys, especially short surveys. If you're trying to solve a pain point and nobody has really talked about it, create a survey. Again, use an association to help, back that, but get a survey out there and ask for feedback. That's a great way. I see this in re-engagement surveys as well, is, if you have a database that you don't think is real engaged, send them a survey and ask them, a couple questions about, where they're at in the process, what they think about you. Ask them to update their information, and then ask them if they have any immediate needs right now. That's a great way to get, not just a brand awareness, but actually get some leads out of it. Number 2 is utilize your FAQs. FAQs are fast becoming the search engine in Google. Because again, if you're solving a problem, if your product solves this problem, put an FAQ page out there, or put it as part of your support page, because your keywords are right in there, and you're going to see those be on the first page of search before anything else that you're trying to pump out in terms of product centric. So utilize your FAQs and get those even into your email campaigns. Utilize them. I mean, that's a great way. If people have a problem, they will identify it. Number 3, review sites. So review sites are again, Yelp. There's Trusted Choice or something like that. There's different ones depending on your industry. I was in insurance, and of course there's a million review sites. A lot of them are using them for acquisition, but I think it was something like, it's 82% of online buyers now look at reviews before they make a purchase. So reviews are actually becoming not just an after purchase thing, but also an acquisition. So if you're not on review sites, or if you haven't leveraged those fans, get them on your own reviews, get them on Google. I mean, I know a local video company here that grew just because of review sites. They just hammered the market with asking for reviews. And that actually starts getting people to talk and getting you on different lists and search. So I would definitely take a look at that. Number 4, leverage chat. There's a company called Drift. They have a free little chat bot. Again, it's limited, but I would definitely, if you're not doing chat on your website, do it, try it out. I've done it in particular companies, and it's great. People, it's a nice way. You can get your brand out there. You can just ask for questions, and people are more apt to do that than fill out a form. And you can hit them right on your homepage or within, and it's a great way to just start having a conversation. And you may come out with some nuggets that you could write about. It's worth a try. I mean, I've had a free version that has actually gone into closed business and revenue. So, I mean, what's your ROI? My cost is 0 outside of the 10 minutes that it took me to actually answer chat, but I ended up getting business out of it. So that's really, really huge. And chat is part of this whole artificial intelligence AI movement that, is super buzzy and trendy, but it's happening. And I think if you want to try it out, do that. Number 5, start a video series. I talked about that. Video is hot. Get it out there. Do something. It brings personality to your brand. Number 6, calculator and comparison is, if you're not doing a product comparison, or you're not doing like an ROI savings calculator, if that's your business where you have some sort of savings, it's a great way to show value and to almost weed out and qualify before you even start talking to them. So definitely do that. Speaking in media, I think, anytime that you can have an opportunity to speak is, sometimes it's free, sometimes you have to sponsor it, but getting, it's just part of that thought leadership strategy. Build a referral program. So if you haven't built a referral program, I would, if you haven't officially put together a formal program on referrals, that's a great customer monthly email series. So I would definitely, I would ask for referrals quarterly. I mean, it depends on your business. If you're financial wealth or accounting firms or law firms, building in a referral program as part of your customer message is good. I think it's a great way to just keep asking. And I would just keep asking. The people that are going to want to do it are going to do it. They just need a little nudge. Number 9, create a unique branded piece. So I think I'm a big believer. I think you've seen some of these things like there's just some, I like the long-term marketing approach. Is there something cool that your company does different? Maybe it's in a printed piece, like a video mailer, where it's a postcard, but it's a video inside of it. That's cool. That's unique. That keeps you top of mind. So think about that. I mean, if you have it in your sales process or if it's part of your marketing campaign, I think spending a little money to do a branded piece is way more important than a tchotchke or, something else that nobody really cares about. As long as there's some strategy built into it. Number 10 is just LinkedIn and Facebook lead forms. Is depending on what social media strategy you're in, do it. Facebook just, crushed the hopes and dreams of businesses in terms of putting more value in shares and family content and stuff like that. That doesn't mean to say that you can't do ads and you can't put those ads in there. So I would definitely take a look at, LinkedIn's going to be more expensive, cost per lead or cost per click. That's just what it is. But again, you can segment, you can find that exact audience you want to go after. So metrics that I would care about, real quick, again, you want to measure the reach, you want to measure your acquisition ability and your forecasting. I mean, that's the goal. The ultimate goal here, and I do have some bonus material that we'll talk about, but the ultimate goal here is the forecasting. Is you want to know, if you're an owner, again, marketer, anything like that, you want to know that if based on what you're doing right now, if you had $1,000 or $10,000 to spend, A, where would you put it? What channel do you think is going to be the best? And B, what do you think you're going to get out of it? How many leads do you think you'll get out of it? So you've got, I think, from fluff in number 1 all the way down to some, hardcore measurements, followers and engagement. I think that's just the health of your social media presence. Subscriber list growth is the health of your database. How many new subscribers are you gaining? How engaged are they? That's important. Cost per lead and sale is obviously, because again, that if you have $10,000, you think you can get 140 leads, whatever that number turns out to be. Time from lead to sale. I think that's a metric that that's a sales cycle metric. And my big push on that is the fact that your company has a sales cycle. So if it's consumer, it's going to be quicker than B2B. But say your B2B sales cycle is 6 months. But marketing can get somebody to a sale, from lead to a sale, in 3 months. Well, you just slice the sales cycle in half. So, measuring that, I think, is important because, again, it gives you more evidence to say, I would throw more money into my marketing side than throw it into sales, because I know I'm going to get more sales and I'm going to get a quicker sales cycle. So it makes a lot of sense. And then attribution is big. So what channels are driving this? So your customer acquisition, what channels are getting you customers and how much does that cost? Money's tight, so you may have a $20,000 annual budget. Where are you going to throw that? And then how are you going to measure it? I mean, that's the way I always look at it. Now, a little bit of bonus material for those advanced companies on the line right now is, marketing tech is huge. Excuse me. I think, if you're above and beyond and the stuff that I talked about, you're already doing it, or it stinks, you don't want to talk about it anymore. Yeah, I'm already doing all this stuff. Then it's time to talk marketing tech. So retargeting is, if you're not doing it, do it. I know on the display ad side, you need to make sure that you have a certain number of visitors to your site, but you can definitely do it on Facebook with custom audiences. Just do a Facebook pixel tag on your site and start building a custom audience based on whatever page you want to do, and then hit them up with a retargeting ad. It's cheaper than pay-per-click, and I think it really gets, keeps you top of mind, because remember, there's 10 to 15 touches to elicit a response. So that retargeting could be a cheap way to be, all right, that's touch number 9, in terms of getting somebody to respond to you. Marketing automation, I think is key. I think there's something on Cose tomorrow where we're talking about marketing automation, but I love it. I love marketing automation. It's a way to expand your sales force. You're warming up your leads. I mean, there's even just a welcome series where somebody signs up for your email and you can send them a 3-email series that you don't have to manually do. That just says, hey, here's more about us. You may be, that have this pain point, and then here's a case study, or just something that brings value to when somebody signs up for an email. Again, ask them their preferences and hit them up with a 3 or 5 email series. And it just, and again, it can help your sales force too. When somebody, when a lead goes cold, put them into a nurture campaign. That way you don't have to do it manually. You can just get it done and set it up and make sure that you can bring them into whatever conversion you want them to do. And then if you're, 3.0 or hardcore, there's this optimization point of this. So, I would probably say, this is probably more powerful and use it wisely, but because you'll get bogged down in the awesomeness and the fun of it. But you want to see how your website's doing in terms of converting your leads. You want to be able to test landing pages. You want to be able to test emails. 99% of the businesses that I've talked to know about, they're not even there. I mean, the corporate businesses, yeah, but as a small business, I always say, don't test emails on a small business because you got one touch, and it doesn't matter whether subject A has, hey, first name versus something else. Eyeball it, do the best you can from here's my best practices. But hey, there's some mid-sized businesses that want to do some email testing or want to do some mobile, mobile looks and feels and design layouts. Optimization, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just you could get bogged down if you're not careful. So I put it in here. There's companies called Unbounce and Optimizely that they can help with A/B testing of landing pages and home pages, and even Google Ads. You can do a pay-per-click on ad testing. Great, that's all great. It's all awesome, but I would make sure that you don't bog yourself down. And if you have a small enough budget, there's no test. My rule of thumb is always, depending on a budget, 10% of your budget should be a test budget, quote unquote, because that, it gives you the ability to test a new channel or a new campaign. But if budgets are tight, don't do it. So where do you start? I think that, if I'm in your shoes, and depending on where I'm at in that range, at least that I've talked about, it just depends on low hanging fruit. I mean, I would definitely take a look at, if you're bogged down, you're like, man, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to go. How do I get this going? I always look at my opportunity first. Where am I missing out? And I said that in the marketing funnel slide, is where do I find leaks? Like, am I not getting enough people in the top of funnel? Are they sort of leaking out and they're just not closing? If I'm in B2C, like, how do I get more people to do whatever that is, a quote or a buy, if it's e-commerce? Figure out your low hanging fruit. That's your opportunity. Throw some budget to it. And again, you want to work backwards to be able to, what type of ROI or what type of leads do you think you can get out of it? And then make sure that you have your resources. So the idea is that you don't want to just throw something out there. You need to have, whether they're internal resources, whether they're external, an ad agency or a contractor or something. The best way that you can kind of start doing this, even if it's a content strategy, is to be able to, get something going. Start with your opportunity, where, start with a problem. It becomes an opportunity. Get into your budget, and then throw some resources behind it. Really manage it and take it baby step, and then be able to get in there and say, okay, I know that we did this. Here's this campaign. It produced X results for Y dollars. Now I know I can forecast. So that's where I would start with everything. So we come to the end of our journey. definitely take some questions afterwards. I appreciate it. I wanted to apologize if it were quick. I wanted to give you some sort of just tactics and just some takeaways. So you've got my information right here with David Hasselhoff. Again, 80s, love it. Thumbs up. And if you want to sign up, I do have a 10-minute marketing crash course. You can go to site/course. Hit me up if you wanted to talk on strategy. Would love to do it. And I think now we'll take questions.
Yes, yeah. I'll leave the questions open for about a minute or so, so feel free to submit those questions. And we'll be back in just about a minute or so to give you guys some time.
Make them good. Yeah, make them good questions.
Well, I just want to thank you, Jeff, for sharing your knowledge with our members today, and to thank everybody for attending the webinar. Your feedback is important to us, so you'll receive a survey from me that we just ask you to complete. At this moment, I do not see any questions flowing in, so I believe that should conclude our session. And thank you again to everybody, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.